Hello and welcome to the 15th day of a 21-day spiritual reset. Today I'd like to talk about the 7 spiritual principles that form the essence of all philosophies, religious teachings, and mystical traditions of all times. And I urge you to think about this with an open mind because just like the laws of physics do not depend on your belief to operate, so also the laws of spirituality do not need your permission to operate in your world. So, what are these 7 principles, spiritual principles? The first principle is called the principle of mentalism. All it means is that the universe is a mental phenomenon, it's infinite intelligence. And consciousness, it asserts that consciousness is the indispensable condition of existence. So once we understand how our mind works and we realize that our mind is our best friend and our worst enemy, we can actually control our environment. We will consciously create our reality. This law tells us that we are the co-creators of our life through our mind. The way we think and feel and emote will actually controls our external environment. The second principle is called the principle of correspondence, and all it means is as above, so below, so above. It's a different way of saying as within, so without, and as without, so within. And all it says is that the laws of the phenomenal world and the spiritual world, there is a correspondence. And once we understand that, it helps us because just think of it this way. Once you understand the laws of geometry, you can sit in the comfort of an observatory or your home and predict the movement and behavior of suns, billions stars and planets, billions of miles away. So also once you understand that the spiritual world works on the law of or principle of correspondence, we can use this law to intelligently reason from the known to the unknown, from the world of matter to the world of spirit. The third principle is called the principle of vibration. And Nikola Tesla said that if you want to understand the universe, you must understand 3 concepts: energy, vibration, and frequency. Now, energy is information and it is constantly moving and moving at different frequencies, from the grossest stage of matter to the purest form of energy, which is the universe, which is the infinite intelligence. And so when you how does this law help us? Once you understand that energy is constantly moving, if you don't like something, you can use your mind to the power of mentalism to change your frequency and change your reality. So, because everything basically, matter is a vibration of energy, and energy is a vibration of idea, and ideation is a vibration of infinite consciousness. So, it's all energy, and we can control it by changing the frequency of that energy inside us. The fourth principle is called the principle of polarity. The entire manifest world is created out of duality and polarity. The manifest world cannot exist in unity form, in the form of unity consciousness. It has to split. That universal energy splits into 2 energies and thus puts into motion the creation of the manifest world. So, the universe first divides itself into 2 and then it divides itself into many. And you can how can we use this principle to help us in our spiritual growth? it gives us the principle or the knowledge that anything or everything can be understood only in context to its opposite. For instance, you can never understand what is love unless you think of the opposite, which is hate, or heat. Unless you understand what is cold, you will never be able to understand what is heat. How can you explain to somebody what is light if you don't know what is dark? So everything comes with its pairs of opposite, and to understand anything, to appreciate anything, we have to understand it in the context of its opposite. So everything exists as pairs of opposite. The only difference is in degrees. Where, for instance, where do you know in a thermometer where heat stops and cold starts? It's all a relative thing. Likewise, in a mental world, where love stops and hate begins, and where hate stops and love begins, it's all open to interpretation. So the fifth principle, it leads us to the fifth principle, which is the law of rhythm. Now, once you understand that there is the law of polarity, there are two basic basic energies, and you can understand life only in context, or experiences only in context to its opposite. You understand that there is a rhythm to that all of life or all of the universe flows in ebbs and flow, just like the tides of the ocean, in and out, just like breath in, breath out. You understand any time you experience a high, that a low is on its way, and anytime you find yourself experiencing in the midst of a throes of a low phase, you must know that a high is on its way. Now we can, if we are not conscious, we can just float around like be tossed around like a leaf in a storm. But once the masters, spiritual masters, once they understand this principle, they insulate themselves through Vedantic concept called Sthita Prajna, which is steady wisdom. And that comes from not attaching oneself to the extremes of anything in life, whether it is pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor, or joy and sadness, heat, any of these pairs of opposite. And you cannot cancel these laws, but you can insulate yourself from these things. Again, by what? By understanding the law of mentalism. The sixth law is called the law of cause and effect. And in other words, it's called karma, the law of karma. All it says is every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. And how does this help us? We understand that nothing happens as a coincidence or random happening in the world. And if you want to really get to the core of or a root of a problem, you can start from the effect and trace it back to its cause. Or if you want to be a conscious creator or a leader, then you work with the cause and you control the effect. So understanding the law of karma, which is otherwise called the law of cause and effect, is very effective. You don't realize, you don't feel like you are the unfair recipient of an unfair universe. You understand that everything you experience has a cause, and once you understand that, you can actually control the effect by controlling the cause. Finally, there is the law of gender, and this follows from the law of polarity, because the whole world is made out of two basic energy. There is the there's a positive energy, negative energy, or you can call it electric energy, magnetic energy. You can call it yin, yang. In different cultures and traditions, they have been given different meaning. But basically, there are two energies, and everything and everybody is made up of these two energies. People mistakenly think that it's also called masculine energy and feminine energy. That does not mean that a feminine energy means we don't have masculine energy inside us. it is just a permutation and combination of this energy inside us. And this principle of gender operates on every plane, on everything and every person, because you have to understand that this law also operates at the physical level and a mental level and the spiritual level. At the physical level, it is man and woman. You have a feminine personality and you have a masculine personality in the form of gender. At the mental level, the masculine energy is the concept of inception and the feminine energy is the concept of reception, or an active principle and a passive principle. And also you can think of the masculine energy as the intellect and the feminine energy as the intuition. So it is not necessarily that women only have intuition and don't have intellect, or men only have intellect and don't have intuition. We have combinations and various combinations of this energy inside us. And at the spiritual level, it manifests itself as Purusha and Prakriti, pure consciousness, or matter, nature, and illusion, Maya, whatever, different religions have different names for it. So once you understand these 7 principles, the law of mentalism, the whole universe is a mental phenomenon, the law of correspondence, as above, so below, the law of vibration, everything is moving in the form of energy and at different frequency. Then the law of polarity, that everything can be understood only in context with its opposite. Everything comes in pairs of opposites. Then comes the law of rhythm. There is a rhythm to the universe. Breath in, breath out, tides, the ebb and flow of tides, and you have to learn to insulate yourself from these rhythms, the pendulum swinging to the left and then to the right. And then the law of cause and effect. Every cause has an effect and every effect has a cause. So you don't, once you understand that, you don't have to feel like a victim of your circumstances. You can trace the effects back to the cause, or control the cause, to control the effect. And finally, the principle of gender, that there are 2 basic energies in the world. There is a masculine energy and a feminine energy, yin yang, positive, negative, electromagnetic. And once you understand how these energies work, you can pretty much create anything you want. Hope you learned something, and these are deep principles that require many hours of reflection and introspection, but I just wanted to scratch the surface and introduce these principles to you. And until we meet again, stay safe and be positive. Thank you.